But I'd rather go to a doctor and pay him a little bit more just so I can get off the table when he's done with the surgery. So.
Right.
Just makes sense to me. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, you know what? I didn't print my thing out yet. I got so excited. So excited. All right. Is that Milan?
Myelone? Myelitis, I think.
Okay. Myelloen. Myeloin. I don't know. Also, a deeper discussion about the EHM outbreak, and also a case study of a horse named Patty.
Sure.
And some x-rays and photos of a negative palmar angle. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. We're good.
Sure?
Sure.
I can stop at any time, Mike.
No, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's get this.
You got it?
I'm brain farting, but you're used to that.
I am. It makes my life so challenging. And you know me in a challenge.
Yes.
I'm all about it.
Yes. I'm just glad I could help out.
How was the show today? Challenging.
And now for something special. The unit is self-contained with its own saddler, farrier, wheelwright and so on. It's a rigorous training, dished on who know all there is to know about horses, and it brings results.
We take you behind the scenes now to show just some of the interesting aspects of this training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, the award-winning #1 podcast to create sounder horses from the ground up. Mike Stine is a registered journeyman farrier, not a German, a journeyman farrier with an APF1 accreditation. On this week's show, talking terminology, we're going to dive into the EHM that everyone's talking about right now. Also, we're going to dive into...
What are we going to dive into?
I don't know. Let me start that over again. Like we're just diving into everything. Everything's diving into. Let's start in the middle here. Here we go.
Training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, the award-winning #1 podcast to create sounder horses from the ground up. Mike Stine is a registered journeyman farrier with an APF1 accreditation. On this week's show, we're going to talk terminology. We're going to define what EHM means. Also, later on in the program, we're going to dive into the actual outbreak and specifically what farriers can do, and a case study of a horse named Patty. Over on YouTube, you can watch this in real time because we have some images of a negative palmar angle. All this and much, much more will be discussed here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. And over to my far right side, my very own Mike Stine. How are you?
I am doing good, Travis. How are you?
I'm doing well. I didn't like that opening in the beginning, so I messed that up a little bit. So I apologize.
We're starting over again.
No, we're not starting over again. We're still doing good. We're still doing good.
Okay.
Speaking of doing good, my wife came to me the other day, and she says, "Honey," I said, "Yes."
Is this going to cost you money?
You know, when they start out that way, it does.
Right.
She goes, "Honey." I said, "Yes." "How much does it cost?" She said, "Friends, my horse people want to go." I don't know why I'm doing the voice here, but she says, "I want to go to Germany next year with my friends, you know, for a horse clinic and show and all this other stuff." And I said, "Okay." She's like, "Remember everyone went last year?" And I didn't go.
I didn't go to Germany.
I know you didn't go to. You're not one of her friends, I guess.
I'm not anybody's friend.
You're my friend, Mike.
I'm your friend. They make me feel so much better.
This close to the holidays, everyone's your friend. But I said, "Yeah, I remember." She's like, "Well, this time I want to go." Last year she did. It just didn't line up. She couldn't go. So this year she's like, "I really want to go." I said, "Fine, no problem." I said, "You know, how much is it?" And she told me, and I was really, really surprised of how much it actually, with the flight and the hotels and
right.
the exterior stuff and the actual show included. Now they have to pay for somewhat of their own food. They have to pay for, you know, rides and cars and all that stuff, but pretty much it's all taken care of. Now, I said, by all means, babe, go. Have a good time. I'm not like, you know, get out of the house or whatever.
Right.
But she's like going, "I'm going to go to this horse show in Germany." It's a horse show clinic. It's a whole big thing that they're doing. And I said, "Sure, no problem." I said, "When is it?" I think she said like March or April or somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. In the same breath, she goes, "Oh, and by the way, the horse show that I signed up for in December, which is I think in Aiken or something like that.
Right.
Second week of December or something like that. She says, I don't know if I'm going to be going. And I said, well, why?
Well, there might not have been anybody going.
Well, that's the thing. I had no idea that this was a thing. I know we talked about it briefly, I think, in one of the past episodes or last seasons and such, but now it's come back around again. And it's the herpes for horses.
Right.
So we're going to start the show off on that note and dive into what that actually is and what everyone's talking about. I just wanted to say that it's affecting my wife as far as...
Well, they've kind of, horses traveling and all that, and primarily it's probably showing up more in Western horses because of the spreading through the barrel racers and what all.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead.
That doesn't mean it can't transfer across somehow.
All right, so we're going to take a quick little break because we have a lot. We really want to dedicate this whole entire show to what's going on in the community, the horse community right now with this virus that's spreading.
Right.
So we're going to take a quick little break, gather our thoughts, and when we come back talking terminology, we're going to define what's actually happening and then dive into the whole ordeal. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Don't forget, you can join the podcast. The way you do that is go over to equinedynamics.com. At the very top of the page says join the podcast. One of the little tabs there. When you hit it, it opens up another screen, and you'll see leave a message for Mike Stine. Your voice can be heard right alongside of us here in the studio if you want to ask Mike Stine a question. If you've got a microphone on your phone, your tablet, your device, on your Bluetooth, wherever you're listening to us on or at, you can speak right into it, comes right to our inbox, and we'll play it on the very next podcast. We broadcast every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, little town we like to call Marshville. So be heard right now. Go over to equinedynamics.com. And over to my far hand side, my very own answer man is Mike Stine. How are you?
I am doing good, Travis. How are you doing?
Doing well.
You are spectacular.
Well, I'm doing okay. But I'm kind of sad because my wife says that she was going to go to this show in December. Now, as you know, I'm now a horse daddy.
Yes.
And I'm broken into the horse show. So she's like, did you like that show? Because we got one coming up in December. And I said, fine, great, let's go. And now she's saying that she's canceled it. So I'm kind of upset. And the reason why she's saying they're canceled it is because of this epidemic that's going on. Now, this section right here, we're going to call talking terminology. Well, we call this talking terminology. And what that means is if you hear something in the barn, if you hear something in the stable, if you hear something on the news that has to deal with equines, we define it here in a format that you can easily understand. So right now, talking terminology, we're talking about the EHM, Mike. And what is the EHM referring to?
Well, you want me to mispronounce it?
As best you can.
As best I can, yes. The equine herpes, I think it's myelitis or something along those lines.
Nailed it.
Right. And that there was an outbreak. I think from what I understand, traced it back to Texas, and it was, a big deal down. I think it was in Waco.
But what does the actual virus do, and what is the actual virus that we're worried about?
Well, the actual one is there's an EHV1 through an EHV5, and what you normally see is the EHV1 or the EHV4. And this one seems to be causing some neurological problems with some horses and it sounds like from what I looked up on it, from blood clotting and loss of circulation to the spine or to the brain. And there have been some horses put down at this point.
So it's not like, humans have herpes.
Right.
And, we go on and survive and stuff.
I think once they get the virus, they carry it. And, if they have something that stresses their system, it can kind of wake up. And there are horses out there that are carriers that don't necessarily show any signs and can probably infect other horses. But I think for the most part, if everything's going good with the horse, I don't think it's that much of a problem. But we've had outbreaks of it before. This is not a new thing.
So on my handy-dandy cheat sheet here, the definition that I have, thanks to our producers that typed this up for me and every week, I appreciate them. It says EHM stands for the equine herpesvirus mellalone cephalopathy.
Yeah,
I nail it too, right?
You got it perfect.
Which is a neurological form of EHV1. Equine herpes virus is a family of viruses that include EHV1 through EHV5, like Mike says. Usually cases are limited to respiratory disease and included symptoms such as fever, nasal discharge, lethargic, and abortion. Is that what?
Yeah, there's some horses that can cause abortions, and so you wouldn't want it on one of those big broodmare farms, and. Anyway, but if you want to hear stuff mispronounced and misspelled and all that sort of stuff, come hang out with us.
Sure. I mean, you know, it doesn't get any more southern than us, I guess. All right, we're going to take a quick little break and actually now dive in.
You're the Florida man.
I am the Florida man. We've defined the actual term, so when we come back, we're actually going to dive into it. And Mike, what he's doing to protect himself and the horses that he works on, because this can be transferred between horse to horse via third party. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Don't forget, you can follow him over on Facebook. If you get tired of your doom scrolling over there and you want something a little bit more educational, something that's going to benefit you and your horse community, go over to Facebook, search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine at the very top of the page, or hit subscribe, follow, like, and what he does is he posts a lot of different graphs, a lot of different articles. They're little short, little snippets of stuff, but it's all in the pursuit of educating you and your horses. Not that your horses are going to read your Facebook page, but at least it'll benefit from all the stuff that Mike posts up there. And he talks about different angles and, you know, muscle groups and all that. And he's got a lot of different graphs. It's one of those pictures tells 1,000 words, and Mike posts them up there on his Facebook page. So follow him over there.
Let's try to stumble through some explanations.
Yes, exactly. So you can follow him over there and give him a like and subscribe. And over on my far hand side, my very own social media professor is Mike Stine. How are you?
I am doing good. How are you, Travis?
Doing well. So we were talking terminology. We did that, and we were talking about the equine herpes virus, and that's I'm going to leave it at that because all the other words, it's too many consonants, too many vowels in between for me to make it mess it up. I don't want to confuse anyone any more than we already do. But right now, we're going to talk about the EHM outbreak and specifically what farriers can do. So. Give us what you're doing on your end and how can this transfer? How does it transfer? We know how it does humanly.
Right.
In the human world, how does it transfer between horses now, though?
Well, they, you know, if they're dripping, you know, snot.
Okay.
and another horse, I mean, it's through the fluids. So if another horse comes in contact with it and it could, that's, you know, maybe they sniff the same spot or sharing water buckets or that sort of thing.
So this could be saliva driven, not sweat driven. It'd be saliva driven.
Actually, it sounds like it could be sweat driven also.
Oh, really? That bad? Okay.
I was listening to something today. Now, it was also on YouTube talking about horses sweating. And so it comes out in the bodily fluids. Now, it was on YouTube, and we know if it's on YouTube, it's all 100%. 100%. So the best thing you can do is, you know, for everything that is bouncing around out there, because there's been a panic going, and I've been getting hit with some of that. And you know, be respectful, stay home till this thing's under control, and see what's going on. There's a bunch of stuff flying around on social media, and some of that's driving the panic.
And that's one reason to follow Mike over on Facebook, because Mike, when he posts something on Facebook, he's already deciphered whether this is worth or true or
trying to, yes.
Yeah.
And
now my wife, like I said, we just got back from my second show I've ever been to, and this was in the first week of November. So we don't know. It started in Texas.
Right. And
we don't know how far it's gotten out.
Well, yeah, that being said, you know, Sammy Pittman is down there in Texas. You remember Sammy?
Yeah.
And he put some stuff out on how to protect your horse for farriers, protect you to do the best thing they can for their clients. And, you know, there's been a lot of stuff out there on social media. The American Farriers Journal has some you know, some things you can listen to or look up article-wise about what's going on. And, you know, Jeff will stay on top of that, is watching it real hard. And
what about what are you doing? What are you doing personally to protect your not you yourself, but when you go to, you know, or say to Horse B, what are you doing personally so people can go, okay, you know, Mike Stine, I have confidence in him because he's doing this.
One of the first things I have done, and I've got extra shirts in the truck. If I go to a new farm or if to, put a fresh shirt on so you don't have any mouth droppings or anything else on the shirt where the horse might stick their nose down on your back or whatever. And also I've got there's spray bottles generic spray bottles are pretty good size.
Yeah.
And I've got that loaded up with what I put in was like 91% rubbing alcohol and another disinfectant in with it.
You don't have like in the old barbershops the blue the blue juice that they stick all their combs and stuff in it and
right.
reaches over.
What I've got in the spray bottle is actually blue.
Oh, is it? Okay, well there you go.
But it's a very strong alcohol base, and it's like Sammy said, the 70% alcohol will kill it on contact, and also. While we're talking about that, and I spoke to a couple of veterinarians that I work around, and remember Christy Shoup?
Yep, she was on the show.
Right, she was on the show, and she's a veterinarian for the state of North Carolina.
Correct.
So on Saturday, I shot Christy a message. If you want me to, I'll give her number out to everybody, and they can all call her directly. No, I won't do that because she shoots balloons, so we know,
Yeah, she's deadly.
And what she said was the chances of a farrier spreading it from farm to farm is very small. The other thing is disinfect your tools, wash your hands, all that, just like Sammy said, change your shirt. And she said felt like a lot of that was probably to keep your customers settled down, which right now we need to worry about keeping everybody calm. And the other thing is if you have a horse that is showing signs, and look it up. They got runny nose, runny eyes, that sort of thing. Maybe a little lethargic, whatever. Pop it up at your barn before your professionals come in. Talk to them. As far as professionals, check ahead to see if anything's going on.
Now, once a
horse can wait a few weeks to have his feet done.
Right. So when a horse is saying, okay, the horse has the EHM. All right, boom, your horse, horse 1 has EHM.
Right.
Is there a cure? Is there not preventative, because we're trying to do that now, but is there any kind of like...
well, they do have some vaccines.
Okay, that's where I was going with that, yeah.
I think it's like the rhino vaccine, and what it can do is help keep a horse where they don't spread it so easy. I don't think it will get... Once it's in the horse system, I don't think you can get rid of it.
Just like the human people.
But what they're saying is, if your horse is showing signs, don't vaccinate. In high-risk areas, don't vaccinate. In lower-risk areas, vaccinate. Some people have already done all their vaccines. So hopefully that helps keep it under control. The other thing is, in North Carolina, the state-run facilities have been shut down. The private facilities they can't do anything about. Talking directly to the state vet, that in North Carolina at this point, they've tested a couple of horses up in the Asheville area, for what it sounded like, but they haven't had any positives in the state of North Carolina at this point. The horses that have traveled to some of these events that are in North Carolina, that they have immediately gotten those horses isolated, but nothing's tested as a problem. And she said, and if there's a few different answers on that, but 12 days as far as incubation to be safe. And
so I think
on surfaces it can last up to 30 days, but you can spray down, clean your water, clean water buckets. If you have a horse that was in a stall that's exposed, don't put anybody in there. And one of the deals I was listening to, and she said this was about right. Is stall distance between horses was enough distance to keep them safe.
Now, you say that there's no horses here in North Carolina that have been tested, and
they have been tested.
I'm sorry,
not positive.
That's what I meant to say. Tested positive. I guess I didn't finish my sentence. But like I said, we were in that show at Rayford, and I know for a fact
there were horses from other places there.
There's horses that were from out of state.
Right.
So, I mean, you're kind of like, okay, no one in North Carolina, but, the surrounding...
You also got to look at, she said, so far, as far as English-ridden horses, they're not showing up any problem there. I mean, that's really the whole thing that got it cooking was was a very large barrel race gathering. And then they went home and went other places and all this sort of stuff.
Those people.
Those people. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the discipline.
I know. I'm just giving them a hard
But
time.
those people, we can give them a bad time.
Yeah, those
Now, if it
people.
had started in the dressage world, they would have been those people.
No,
Never. They would have been those people. But, right now, if you don't have to go anywhere, probably sit tight at home. If anything is showing up in your barn, make sure the professionals know what they're dealing with. Some years ago, I had to work on a horse, and we ended up going back and forth with the state vet on that. The veterinarian had talked to me, and I said, well, you need to figure out what's going on, what we got to do. But it was a horse, everybody's familiar with strangles, and that is very contagious, can be spread easy and all that. But this horse was into laminitis pretty good, and it's like, okay, it's getting in trouble with laminitis. The horse has strangles, the horse is isolated. So the feedback from the state vet was, get a jumpsuit, wear a jumpsuit, be careful about anything getting on you anywhere. When you're done, get a disposable jumpsuit, wash hands, wash your hair, the whole bit, right?
Kind of rinse off a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So it did, and I ended up picking up a jumpsuit, but it was not one of those disposable ones. So, the deal was I had garbage bags. So the jumpsuit went in the garbage bag, got tied off, went in the back of the truck. So once it goes through the washing machine, it's fine. And then all my tools turned rust orange because everything was sprayed down with Clorox and water. And then I was trying to wipe off and WD-40 them and all that, but as soon as that Clorox water hit them, there was just instant rust coating. But, we didn't have any problem with spreading it. And you clean your boots, bottoms of your boots, Clorox water my boots, because if you track it into your truck on the floor mats, you could track it back out. So that's what was done with the strangles. And kind of the same thing with this. And, and the first thing is, if you've got a horse in your barn that has a problem, let your farrier know, let any other professional that comes in there know. And they can wait till the situation settled down to have their feet done, or a lot of things. If you got something that a horse is seriously sick, the vets are going to have to work with it. And some of them may throw in a disposable hazmat deal. I've been in situations working in like some major breeding operations, going into their all that, where they've had me clean boots and all that sort of deal going in because they don't want anything coming in there.
And some of the people who don't know, if they're not aware of how to isolate a horse, pretend that horse has COVID-19, because we all know. I mean, the whole entire planet knew what to do if, you were threatened with COVID-19.
A similar situation.
I was going to say, treat your horse exactly the same way. Isolate your horse if you think you've got something wrong with it. Any snot rags or anything, the bucket, make sure he eats and drinks out of the same bucket all the time. You're not sharing the horses. So, if Lulu gets a pink bucket all the time, make sure Lulu always gets that pink bucket all the time.
So brush your rasp out. Get the big chunks out because it will hold stuff. 70% alcohol will kill it on contact. Disinfect everything, clean everything best you can. Be respectful to your clients. And as far as owners, please let people know if something's going on. And farriers, try to call ahead and talk to people and see what's going on.
Find out if they're
okay. On the phone more, but you do not want to, any way, shape, or form, carry it to another barn. And Christy said that Dr. Shoup said that the chances are pretty slim of that. And
be honest. I mean, don't
be honest. Yes.
I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's not like anything bad. I mean, it is a bad item that's happening, but it's not anything that you've done wrong. Sometimes it happens, and
I've got a clothing bag that I put in the truck this morning so that I would have fresh shirts, fresh changes of clothes, that sort of thing, if need be.
And I got to change my outfit after the show. All right, when we come back, we're going to dive into, if you're not on YouTube right now, every podcast we have a full length video over there, over on the YouTube channel. Just search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine over on YouTube, because we have a case study here of a horse named Patty with a negative palmar angle. We're going to dive into that, and we have a whole bunch of x-rays as well. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back.
I think we kind of needed to do that with what was going on.
Yeah.
Stay on the current event a little bit.
Yeah, by all means.
It's not a farrier issue, but it is a farrier issue.
It could be.
Because of,
And just think of everyone else that it would affect. Your body workers, your chiropractors.
Anybody in and out of a barn.
Exactly. Anybody. Even your hands, the horse hands, or even little kids. Little kids, oh, fluffy,
Right.
With your nose and stuff. I put that camera on. I still haven't used it. There you go. And now it's on. Mm-hmm. It's back there. Hey. All right. I just had to use that camera because I spent all that money on it. So here we go.
Right.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you don't want to go live on the air with us, that's fine. You can always email Mike Stine a question. Go over to equinedynamics.com. At the very top of the page says contacts. Fill out that little form, email your question, and make sure you put a physical return address. And the reason why you're going to do that is because we're going to send you out some holiday stuff. The Thanksgiving stuff has gone and went already, Mike. It came in, went out as soon as...
You're kidding. I never even saw it.
I know. I had so many people in line. I was mailing them out to them. So everyone out there, thank you very much for getting all our Thanksgiving stuff. But guess what? Christmas stuff is coming in here soon. We got a bunch of new things for you.
Well, it's like I couldn't believe with the Halloween stuff. You gave me so much of that. It just went.
People eat it up. People eat it up. So get yours in now. Go to equinedynamics.com. Just give us a question or your physical address, and we'll mail it out to you as soon as possible. And if you're on Mike's route or Mike's in your barn or anything like that, he'll have some on hand too. So make sure you ask him for it if you're listening to the show, and he'll hand you a bunch of the stuff that we got for you. And over to my far right side, my very own ho is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing all right. You ready for Thanksgiving, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to see the family again, that side of the family and all that.
Well, my dad has said he wanted to see me this year.
Well, so good. That'll be nice.
Visit with him.
You said something the other day. He's getting a street named after him?
He is getting a street named after him in the big city of Indian Trail.
Oh, yeah?
There's a little couple block long, dead-end street. They're putting a roundabout smack in the middle of town. Uh-huh. And they're going to stick his name on it.
And there's so many jokes I can go there. But what is it? What is his name, Mike? What are they going to call the street?
Well, they're just going to have Stine on it, but it's Charles R. Stine II. And, when he opened up his business in Indian Trail, there was a old hardware store, and there was Bart's store that had a little everything in there, and that was about it. And when I was a kid, Bart's store had a tie post beside it. And you could tie your pony in it and go in and get a drink and pack of crackers. You could go and buy 22 bullets by the bullet, buy 322 bullets for a couple cents or penny or whatever it was. And,
So he's getting a street named after him.
Yeah, I've had a big box out front, or a big container out front with a hand crank where you could get kerosene. But Indian Trail, that's what was going on when I was a kid.
Are you going to go out there and cut the ribbon? Is your dad still around?
Well, he is, but I was on the road traveling, working when they had the thing at the town hall. And Indian Trail at this point, if anybody knows it, is the place. It doesn't exist anymore because Charlotte grew over top of it and
kind of incorporated it.
It's where Charlotte and Monroe run into each other.
I think the locals still call it Indian Trail out there.
They do.
All right.
They do.
So there you go. Mike's getting a street named after his father, I guess. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, what else is pretty cool right now is if you go over to YouTube, you can see the full-length podcast visually. I'm making up words, Mike.
Visually.
Making up words.
Yes.
But we have the full-length video over on the YouTube channel. You can see the podcast.
I stole my cell phone video.
Killed the radio star.
Right.
And so we're going to switch over to camera 4 here in just one sec. Here we go. Camera 6. So what are we looking at here? Looks like a horse has got a brand new pair of shoes. It's got
a fancy sneaker on.
Yeah, he's got like a tennis shoe on there.
Yeah, that is a I think that's an easy boot cloud is what they call that particular boot.
Okay.
But I was asked to take a look at this horse, and I did. And before I did anything, we took this lateral shot of the foot. And if you look at it, those heels are very underrun. The whole foot shifted forward. And with the horse's foot on the concrete, you might be able to tell the toes actually lifted up.
Yeah, right there in the front, I can see it. Yep.
And, when I was working on this horse, the coffin joint, I couldn't get any flexion out of it. And I was like, okay. But it's been like this for a while. This guy is, or girl, or whoever.
It's Patty. It could be either way.
That could go either way. Is old up a little long in the tooth, or
it's an older horse.
Older horse. Yes.
Stop beating around the bush, Mike.
Right. It's kind of like, the coffin joint has almost no flexion on this left side, limited flexion on the right side. And if you feel those tendons on the back of the leg, they're blown up, knotted up, and all this sort of deal, and they're not pristine by any means.
Go ahead.
So the horse, when it turns like a laminitic horse, but it is not showing any signs of laminitis.
Who put the boot on, the tennis shoe on?
The owner had those on it was keeping the horse a little more comfortable.
Okay. Was it doing any good, or is this just like, Patty likes this shoe on, that's his favorite shoe or something?
It's not hurting, right? And maybe keeping the horse a little more comfortable depending on what surface it's on. But we do have a picture of the bottom of the foot, and that's on this left foot, which is the worst side.
Okay.
But the foot is very flat. The heels are migrated way forward, and that foot is hard like a rock. And
it looks solid to me, though.
It's too solid.
Okay.
But it doesn't want to flex. It doesn't want to move. And you look from the bulb of the heels to where the heels are on the ground, how far forward that is. And the problem is when you start looking at, we need to back the heels up, and the horse's toes going up in the air. And when you look at the lateral radiographs, you're going to see something that makes it real exciting.
Holy mackerel.
Okay. That would be the right side. And, you've got a really broken back, hoof, coffin joint axis. And the bony column alignment is nowhere near where it's supposed to be. And, it's a negative palmar angle. But if you look at the white line area from the top to the bottom, down, there you go. Down that you can actually see that opaque line there where you can see where the lamina is pretty much. That's not showing stretching in there, so it's not laminitic. And so that is
the hoof. To explain to everyone who's not watching the video here, the hoof is pointing into the ground, but the coffin bone is almost pitching up a little bit.
The toe is toe up, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and the other side is, it's a little worse. The next one.
Next picture. There we go.
Okay, so that is how the horse is standing on that left front.
If my foot right now was in this position, just by the coffin bone, my calf would be so stretched out, so hyperextended out, based on this, this video,
and
image here.
In my hand, I cannot flex that joint. So, if you were to drastically change the joint, if you went to, I was like, if this joint would move freely and properly, yes, we could move some things around. And there again, on that white line area, everything is not stretched. It's a good, clean, everything measures out pretty good. So, and of course, at this point, if it was a little laminitic and it rotated back some, it might help. Not to say that I was thinking any horse should go into laminitis.
So is this the best case of a worst case scenario without the laminitis, flexing in there?
I don't think that's the best case of anything.
Okay.
But we're trying to figure out how to get this old timer happy, and it's not happy right now. But the fact that I can't get any flexion in the joint in my hand, and it's not like the joint's calcified. It's not like everything's calcified in. You don't see any like big ring bone stuff or anything like that freezing the joint up. So the tendons and ligaments are locked up or whatever it may be. On that side, you have a little more movement.
Now, you said this happened overnight?
Well, the first message that I got sounded like it wasn't like this a couple months ago kind of deal, and I'm like, yeah, this didn't exactly happen overnight.
Well, what they meant was I didn't notice this a couple months ago.
Right.
And prior to that, I didn't even pay attention to this.
I can't say much because I walked in on what I walked in on.
Right.
I've never seen the horse but the one time. Now, a few months ago, did we have some flexion in that coffin joint? Maybe. But right at the moment, no. And this is before I ever made any attempts at doing anything with the horse as far as that goes.
Now,
I've not.
Go ahead.
And the horse's body is trying to protect itself in whatever way it can.
So what's Patty's job?
Patty is retired. Patty had been early in life, had been a Western pleasure horse. And they said, and this horse is bumping around 16 hands tall. And she said when she got the horse, it was in like a little tiny double-all shoe. So it had a pony shoe on. Mm-hmm. So these feet have been contracted long term. And part of the problem, even if the joint moved, for a horse that's been that contracted that long, the damage to your lateral cartilages, are you able to do anything as far as restoring them? It's like Dr. Mansman said, you could, if you've lost 6 or 8 millimeters in your lateral cartilage, in your lateral cartilages, it'd take about a year per millimeter to recover. If they're scarred up, that part's not going to recover. The plantar cushion, digital cushion, if it is beat up and destroyed, that tends not to ever really come back. So when you've got these horses that have been in that kind of condition a long time, to get the horse back pristine, perfect is a tough deal, and it depends on the horse. But if you've lost a lot of that digital cushion, it tends not to come back.
So you put certain shoes on it. You put lifts in there. How did you attack it?
Right now, my first thought was, can we change this thing mechanically? But the problem with changing it mechanically, it means move that joint. The joint, I cannot flex it in my hand. So if I try to force that joint, at this point, it's like do no damage, right? So we're trimming it. It's going to be on a real shortened trimming schedule to see if things will loosen up and move, and there's going to be another farrier involved, and we're going to work together on it.
So when do you go back and see Patty again?
It will be a couple of weeks.
Okay, but not the 6 to 8 weeks or 8 to 12 weeks.
No. What we're going to try to do is get it where it is being done in about 3 weeks.
Okay, so hopefully Patty will be able to maintain and
maybe even 2 weeks if need be.
maintain and get that joint all corrected.
Right.
All right, guys, one more little segment. We'll let you get back to playing with your ponies, so stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Okay, what did we learn? What did we learn?
What did we learn?
Can you smell that blueberry coffee? You smell it at all? No?
No.
We made turtles. You know what turtles are? Not turtles. Goobers. We melted chocolate,
peanuts,
and put.
Yep.
Do you like those?
Yeah.
Do you? I got a couple out in the freezer. I'll give you on the way out.
Okay.
Got to do that. I got to use this one here. I keep forgetting that I have that back camera there. I'll give you a couple that you can munch on.
Okay. Yeah, I need that.
Chocolate. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Whoops. Wrong one. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you like this podcast to perform out at your clinic, your location, if you had a good time with the show, well, we can bring this fun time outside of the content of, unfortunately, of what's in the show. But we can come out there to your location. If you've got an event going on, any kind of fair, festival, or anything like that, we can come out there and do this podcast right on your very front doorstep. You just reach out to Mike Stine over on equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says clinics. Fill out that little form. And don't forget, Mike Stine does he's a clinician as well. He's got a whole bunch of graphs. He's got a full-length a full-size horse skeleton that he can bring to your location and discuss all the biomechanics and everything that we discuss here on the program out at your location for educational purpose needs or for pure entertainment as well. So make sure you follow him. Go to equinedynamics.com, fill out that form, clinics, and we'll pencil you in for this upcoming season. And over to my far right side, my very own smart man in the room is Mike Stine. How are you?
Where are you pointing?
I'm pointing right at you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How are you, Mike? You doing all right?
I'm doing all right, Travis. How are you doing?
I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving. We're going to have a whole bunch of turkeys. We're going to have a whole bunch of, and food to eat too.
Right.
Over at the house.
Well, your neighbors got turkeys that are coming over.
Yeah.
Well, they got ducks and geese.
Yeah, they got all that over there.
Chickens.
I think they're missing one somewhere.
Right.
It might end up on the table.
Well, you had one of their chickens in your chicken pen the other week, right?
Yeah, it's a community chicken pen for the most part.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mike, what did we learn today?
What did we learn today?
Talking terminology, talking about the EHM and what it stands for. Hit it, Mike. Here he goes.
Equine herpes. Is it myelitis?
Myelencephalopathy. No, that's a mosquito.
Okay.
Myelencephalopathy.
Okay.
Got it?
Let's have somebody look that up and say it the right way.
Well, I'll get the computer to do it. I got an AI version that'll help us with that. And what does that mean to the humans, and what is it doing to the horses?
Well, this EHV1, there have been horses that have had some neurological damage. And for the humans, it means we don't need to be rubbing other horses' noses, and they're rubbing our horses' noses.
Who's a good boy?
And isolate your horses. Keep some distance. If you can, just stay home. As far as the farriers, make sure we're disinfecting tools. Keep plenty of clean shirts. So between barns, you can swap shirts. And that way you lessen the chance. According to Dr. Shoup with the state of North Carolina, there's not a huge chance of the farriers transferring it from barn to barn. It's very slim. But we want to eliminate that slim to nothing if at all possible. The other thing is make sure you know, and make sure, as far as horse owners, make sure your professionals know before they come into the barn that there's nothing going on. And
be honest.
And be honest. And if there is something going on, as far as having a feet done, they can wait a couple of weeks. They can they can be rescheduled, but it's safer for the rest of the horses if there's no contact.
So EHM stands for the Equine Herpes Myelencephalopathy. Nailed it. Is a neurological form of EHV1. Equine herpes virus is a family of viruses that includes EHV1 through EHV5, 5 being the worst. Usually cases are limited to respiratory disease and including symptoms such as fever, nasal discharge, lethargic, and can create abortions.
And when you're listening to stuff out there that is flying all over the internet, one thing that popped up the other day, and it's a true thought and a good idea. If you're listening to someone's advice on what's going on and what this really is and all that, their first name probably needs to be doctor, as in DVM.
Make sure, right?
Right.
Okay. Also, case study of a horse named Patty with some palmar angles and stuff. Let me switch over to camera 6, and we can see this together in real time. So let me go back to where Patty actually started with her Nike tennis shoe on here. So here we go. Here's Patty.
Yeah, this is a kind of a tough case, and we want to get this horse a little more comfortable if we can, and the customers want to keep the horse happy and healthy like we all would. But any deal like this, before it becomes a problem, is the best time to deal with it. And this late in the game is going to be very tough to deal with. And
but you have good faith as far as getting this horse happy? Because you said the horse is retired. Patty's retired.
Patty's retired.
You just want the horse happy now.
We want the horse happy and healthy and can get around the field okay. But the fact that coffin joint, especially on this left front, does not want to flex, it is kind of puzzling as to what can be done. If the joints were working normally, if the tendons were in good shape, which they are not, it would be a completely different ball game.
So we wish luck with Patty out there and recovering and getting along on down the road.
These cases like this is like you got to scratch your head and figure some things out. There's got to find some.
Where you say pun or go home or something like that?
Back up and punt.
Back up and punt. All right, guys. We appreciate each and every one of you listening to us, following us. Make sure you share this with all your friends. Go over to Facebook. Make sure you make sure you follow Mike Stine over on Facebook. You can do that too, and make sure you like and subscribe to him over on YouTube as well. You can see the full-length podcast over there, and fill out that little form over on the equinedynamics.com page for clinics, and get your Christmas gear, your holiday gear over there as well. On behalf of Mike Stine over there,
have a good day. Enjoy your ponies and keep everybody's ponies safe.
my name is Travis, saying see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Just close your eyes and dream, little pal.
There you go.
Dream.